Thank you, Billy, and I could not be prouder than to stand outside of Local 17 Iron Workers, where Bill and the people here know how much time Betty and I have spent inside this building doing the things you have to do to win a statewide race, which is getting on the phone, calling people, asking for money, raising the money, having the wherewithal to get that message out. And they have always graciously welcomed us and shown us where the restroom was and given us a bottle of water and encouraged us, but didn't distract us from the work. And I also want to say a special thank you to Dave Wondolowski and all of the building trades in Cleveland who have been so ferocious. We're going to talk about a fearless fighter. We've had a bunch of fearless fighters with us from the trades up here, and it has made an enormous difference in this race, and it will make enormous difference through the spring, the summer, and the fall. Now, let me talk a little bit about Betty and I. By the way, could we have done a better thing than by forming this team, this ticket to run this year? I have learned so much from her. She's so dynamic, she's passionate, and she is somebody who has worked her whole career to get results for the people that she cares about. You know, when she hasn't been in public office, do you know what she's done? I know a lot of you do know. She's been a labor lawyer representing working people, standing for them to be treated fairly in the workplace, get their jobs back if they lost them wrongly, get money back if it was taken from them wrongly. That's what she's done when she's not been in public office. And when she's been in public office, she's been the same way. And let me say that the very first thing that this current administration did when it came into office 7 years ago was try to divide the labor movement against itself, taking off the public sector workers to take away their collective bargaining rights. And you know they were coming for the private sector workers next with right to work. That was their 1-2 plan. And you all stepped up and stayed united, and you beat them. Had to go to the ballot to beat them, but you beat them soundly with issue 2. And I will tell you, nothing gets me more fired up, and yes, I'm often a low-key guy, but nothing gets me more fired up than seeing people try to take advantage of other people and knock someone down to try to build themselves up. And that was what that fight was all about, and so many of these fights are all about. And we are going to change that approach in Columbus when we're elected governor and lieutenant governor. And let me say that at the Consumer Bureau, my job was to stand on the side of people in the financial marketplace and make sure that the biggest and most powerful financial companies in our country treated them fairly and didn't take advantage of them, as they so often had done. And that's why we got $12 billion back, because they violated the law so many ways, so many times, and to such a significant degree that that's what came of it. They needed to be taught a lesson, they needed to be corrected, and we did that. And as Betty said, we will not be playing defense when we're elected governor and lieutenant governor. We'll be playing offense to say that the principles of the labor movement, standing up for workers and the dignity of work, standing up for people so that they can make a decent wage and look out for themselves and their children and their grandchildren, building a future for this state with all of the things that we need, and we need a lot of things in this state. We need, first of all, and it's basic, we need clean, honest government in Columbus and in Washington. And I get aggravated when I see the cabinet officials in Washington who are spending $25,000, $50,000 on charter flights to stroke their ego. Or what was the one guy with the soundproof booth in his office, $40,000 so he can have his own private conversation. I never needed to have a private conversation when I was running the Consumer Bureau. I wasn't afraid to have people hear what I stood for and what I was about. You know, this is government that's about serving itself, not serving us. And the same thing in Columbus, as Betty said. We just had a Speaker of the House resign his office for the first time ever in a corruption scandal. The FBI is investigating. Why? Because he had payday lending lobbyists paying for him to fly around the world and take fancy trips. That felt good to him. That's what he was in public service for, apparently. And he didn't even bother to stay and try to pretend like he was going to try to clear his name. He knows what he did. And those payday lending lobbyists got favors on legislation, and now it is legal in Ohio to charge 594% interest on a payday loan. And you tell me how that builds anybody's economic future. It causes financial ruin. But that's what people can get away with because of the corrupt government in Columbus. And we will clean it up. Do you remember 12 years ago in 2006 we had that CoinGate scandal? I used to go in my pocket and hold up 2 coins to remind people that the Bureau of Workers' Compensation, put there to look after injured workers and make sure that they got a fair shake, was investing money in rare coins. I was a treasurer at the time. I never would have invested in rare coins. And then we learned that the head of the fund was the former Lucas County Republican Party chairman, and suddenly it made sense to everybody. It didn't make good sense. It made bad sense. And we had to go in and clean that up, and we got elected that year because people want honest government in this state. And they want it again today. They expect that. It's a basic. But we also want government to be on our side in pushing forward to address the kitchen table issues that Betty and I talked about, to make a brighter future for the state and for the people of the state, to have it be a state that we can be proud of, that treats each other right, and that the government treats us right, and that the state government isn't continuing to war on our local governments and take money away from police and fire and first responders and drug addiction and treatment specialists who are supposed to be fighting the opioid crisis, and they're undermining them at every turn. And then you know what they say? They say to the local officials, you go to the ballot and raise property taxes. They give income tax cuts to those who need them least, and they want us to raise property taxes on people, seniors and others who cannot afford it. That's the tax swap. It's not tax cuts. It's tax swap, and that's what they do. And then, if you do pass a levy, they're reaching in your pocket to take some of that money next year and the year after and the year after. And it's wrong, and we're going to stop that in Columbus when we get in office. So we have 2 elections to fight here. We've got one coming up on Tuesday. And don't let people forget about that. People get confused about the spring primary in Ohio. Sometimes it's in March, sometimes it's in May. Send an email this weekend, if you will, to your entire network and just let them know 2 basic things. Number 1, there is an election on Tuesday, May 8th. And number 2, you were out to see the Cordray Sutton ticket, and that's who you're supporting, and they should too. And eventually I got one send me emails. But these are the things we can do that will make a difference at this point in time. And I know that we have had the strong support of the labor movement in Cleveland and across this state, and it is what has carried Betty and me. You have been our wings, helping us fly through this primary, and we will win on Tuesday because of you. And when we do, I want you to have the confidence to know that we can win in November again because of you, and we will do that together. Thank you. Thank you.